right. That was a great weekend. That was a really great weekend. And no, I deserve no credit at all.
Stop, dude.
No.
Honestly,
a lot of people are trying to give me credit.
Define a lot.
I have been receiving tweets all weekend long after every win. The Giants are undefeated post-rant. Listen,
right.
I'm not saying I inspired them. I'm saying we don't know that I didn't. That's what I'm saying.
The fact that you're leading with it is
I'm not leading with it. I'm leading with the Giants.
This is exactly what you led with.
I'm leading with the Giants. Okay. I'm not taking the credit. The
fact that you've deflected credit thrice now means that deep down you're taking some credit, and that to me is kind of sad.
There's a lot of people out there that are trying to send it my way, and I don't want it. That's my message today. No. The bigger question is oh God, take a joke and settle down,
dude. I can't stop laughing.
What the hell? Really? Are we going to do this to start the show? You're going to take me seriously?
I'm dead serious. Look at your face.
My God, dude.
You're locked in.
Okay.
If they win tonight, then that's 5 in a row, and that one's on you.
If they win tonight,
yeah,
then God's a Giants fan.
Oh,
because they don't play.
Oh,
all right. So anyway,
well, there goes your streak.
There we go.
Giants fan.
Yeah,
you may have to rant it up.
They
again.
will remain undefeated post rant after tonight. That's my prediction.
Let's go.
No, I think you got to take these three players as three separate conversations.
Okay,
I really do, because and I think that's our question for everybody today. 888-957-9570. Did the Giants front office do this correctly or not? The calling up of these three players. I think there's actually some beauty in the fact that they're all here together, which as we had talked about last week, had happened for just a few games at the end of last year, but kind of cup of coffee, years over type of a way. I wonder if this is helping them all out, that they're all together.
Right.
You know, they come up through Sacramento together. Now they're here together. Maybe that's calming for them. I don't know. But I do think that's the question. And maybe it's three separate answers. But did the Giants front office call these guys up at the right time? They wait too long? Is it still too soon? What do you think?
I think that it's the right time, but I think that it happened because of, happenstance, injuries. Yep. And, when you have that many injuries and you have that lack of an ability to have anybody else come up, you kind of got, I don't want to say lucky, because you don't get lucky when other people get hurt, but I do think that the timing happened to be right because, for one, you had Colorado, a team that's not very good. You were home for the majority of it. And, the fact that they're all up together, I do think helps because the pressure and the spotlight's not on just one guy.
Well, and I also think they come up and they know that everybody's going to be assessing them. This is kind of like if you're a basketball player and the coach puts you in and it's like you're one of those bench players and it's almost like you're afraid to shoot because you know that one shot. If it goes in, I get to stay in. If it goes out, I'm going to watch my friend get up off the bench and go to the scorer's table to check in. It's really hard to play when you're looking over your shoulder. And these guys got here at a time where they knew, especially Matos, has some runway. I mean, they just get the news on Friday, Jung-Hoo Lee's out for the year. Matos is your center fielder.
Right.
You're not going anywhere.
That's it.
Period. He's an everyday player. He is playing center field. Sure, you could spell him with a Yaz out there if you need to.
I think Slates could play center.
He can play center, sure. Right. He moves well enough to do it. But they have some runway. I don't know how long Nick Ahmed is out. I don't know. I know Conforto's getting close. I don't know when Slater is due back. I don't know how the Giants are going to play this, but they had a little runway to where it's like, you're not up here so that we can, quote, get a look. You're up here because we need a body to play that position, and you play that position, so play that position. Maybe that helped them a little bit because they do. They look relaxed. They look very relaxed. But small sample, incredibly small sample, and so it's way too early, I think, to do the 100%. You got to play them now for the rest of the year. And then the opposite is also true. The Giants are a game and a half out in the wild card. And by the way, they're the first team out right now.
They are.
That's all it took.
Wow.
4-game winning streak. They're right there. So everything is still on the table for the season. And my issue last week, when I said the whole play the kids mentality is interesting to me, is usually when a person says that, whether it was Warriors or Giants this year, when a fan goes, play the kids, that's different than, you know what? Maybe they should play the kids. Like, let's take a look. Maybe this helps the team. Play the kids means you're ticked.
Totally.
You're frustrated. You want to give up, and you think there's nothing on the table for them this season. So that's why, I'm against that concept. But if they come up and they're better than the dudes who've been playing, they stay. Period.
Yeah. Then it becomes play the kids.
Play the kids.
Play the kids.
Play the better player.
Right. And I do think that there is a difference, and you laid it out perfectly, play the kids. Blanket.
Right.
Just play the kids. The season's going nowhere.
Yeah.
We give up. The guys we have aren't good. Play the kids. And if the kids aren't good, at least then we'll know about the kids. But now it's, play the kids. And we've gotten to after 3 or 4 games, and it's like, all right, play the kids. And so it does become interesting when all these other guys become healthy again. And we know that Jung Hoo Lee won't. So that kind of takes center field out of the equation, at least, as far as Matos goes, right? But the other guys, shortstop, Ahmed's probably a better defender still than Luciano
for
after
sure.
3 or 4
For
games.
sure.
So
Yes.
What do you want to value at shortstop? And, the corner outfield spot, Conforto's had a really good year when he's been healthy. So what do you do about that spot? Do you make him a guy who shares DH with Soler, or how do you navigate this?
Yeah, I think there's plenty of room for Conforto, Yaz, and Ramos to be 3 outfielders who handle the 2 positions, especially because Ramos is only right-handed. Only one of the ones who's right-handed. Again, when Slater is ready, that's the interesting one. And I know we've watched coaches and front office members with all of the teams. The habits die hard. The reliance on the veterans and people who have been around the block, that dies really hard. You can't just be flippant. I know as fans you want to be. You can't just be like, DFA him. Get him out of here. Be careful. You do that, and Ramos suddenly looks 23 or 24 again.
Right.
And now what do? There are no options for those players. So everybody yelling about Slater and Yaz, I get it, but you can't do that because you had a good weekend. You can't do that. What does Slater add? 45 at-bats.
Yep.
That's a guy that's played well at times in the last few years for the Giants.
At 39, actually.
39 at-bats?
He's 5 for 39.
He's been brutal.
With 1 ribby.
He's been brutal. And if Ramos...
Stolen 1 base.
If Ramos continues to play the way he looked this week, he stays, obviously. But I do think, for me, Dibs, there are 3 different answers.
Yeah.
How'd they play it? Okay, here's what I would have said. Marco Luciano, that should have been your opening day shortstop. I'm already intrigued enough just because of the way the ball can fly off the bat.
Right.
Nick Ahmed came in on a minor league contract. You probably could have kept him waiting in the wings. And if Marco starts out and goes 3 weeks with 2 hits or makes a bunch of errors, okay. But come on. The talent is in there, and you know it, and it's been time. It has been time. Luciano probably should have been the opening day guy. Let's see how that goes. He's been here for the least amount of time. Ramos probably could have had an earlier look with how badly Slater was struggling. But again, until he gets hurt, what do? You're not going to just cut him.
Right.
You can't just get rid of him. But it would have been nice for them to find a way to get Ramos a few more at-bats a little bit earlier. Matos, I think, came up at exactly the right time. He took bad routes in the outfield last year. Jung Hoo Lee.
Last week.
Yeah. Jung Hoo Lee is Jung Hoo Lee.
Right.
You weren't looking for somebody to replace him. And Matos came up, and by the way, he was not crushing it in Sacramento. So that's what I mean. I think it's 3 different answers, but you certainly can do one of 2 things. A, you can question the way that these guys have been brought up. But for me, the bigger question is not what you did. It's what you're going to do.
Exactly.
And if these guys keep hitting the ball, you got to keep them. You got to keep them up until they really show you with their numbers that they're not ready. Until then, they stay.
They stay, and so when the guys come back who are currently injured, who are veterans, who have no options, like Conforto and Slater and Ahmed, then what do? What's the corresponding move? Because I like what you said about the options, because you don't have options on the veterans, but you don't want to send these young guys down who are playing so well, who are actually helping you win, players who are helping you achieve victory. You don't want to send them down just because they have options, but at the same time, you don't want to send the vets down, because then what is your insurance policy if the young guys start playing badly?
Yeah, I don't know what Ahmed's thing is, but if Luciano does not start kicking the ball around at short, I'd be willing to go on a very lengthy, dude, even if you're hitting 202, that's fine, because you've at minimum got gap-to-gap power. And again, this is all about what's the alternative. Nick Ahmed is a very solid glove. He is never going to do anything that's that impressive with the bat. And so just because Luciano has the ability to score people from first base, if he doesn't kick the ball all over the place, he stays. He stays. I know they were all excited about their left side of the infield defense, but I think all of us would sacrifice a foot or two of speed out there at shortstop in favor of somebody who is able to whack doubles seemingly on the somewhat regular.
No doubt. And already Luciano is doing more at the plate than Slater did. He's got 4 hits. Slater has 5 hits all year. And I know they don't play the same position, but Nick Ahmed is a guy who's hitting, barely 200. He's hitting 236. And most of those are little slappy singles. So how about some offense and some excitement?
888-957-9570. How do you feel about the way the Giants played it with these 3 guys, names we've been sitting here hearing for a long time? We've been hearing these names. In the case of Luciano and Ramos, my God, it's been every bit of 4 years.
At least,
since we've been wondering about it. SF Bay drummer in Houston is called Willie and Dibby. What up, drummer? What are you doing?
Nothing much, man. Just driving on these Houston highways in the heat, but I like the heat. I don't like the cold. Y'all can keep that. But
beautiful here today, drummer, but that's okay.
I have an idea. So you actually can DFA Slater, and the move that I would make would be for Farhan to hopefully laugh and finally put something together and get Jazz Chisholm from the Marlins and put him in center field. And then you have Ramos, Chisholm in center field, and Ramos in right field. Ramos in right field.
Drummer,
Matos.
Chisholm is, okay, so what you're suggesting, and I know maybe he's a great athlete, maybe he could transition. He's a second baseman, number one. Number two, the way you just laid it out, you're not just DFAing Slater. It sounds like you're done with Conforto and Yaz as well. You want the outfield to be Chisholm, Ramos, and Matos?
No, you could put Yaz on the bench. And then and Conforto, he can regain his starting role back if Ramos or either Matos cool down.
Drummer, thanks, man. Enjoy the heat and the humidity.
Thank you.
They
actually transitioned Chisholm to the outfield this year, so he's playing center for Miami.
He's playing some center. He's a great athlete. So
athlete.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're quite at the trade portion of the show yet.
Well, no, trades are great. I mean,
they're awesome.
The Marlins are already in that mode. They already sent a rise to San Diego. I have no issue with the greater idea of getting better with a trade right now, but it's way too soon, in my opinion, to say, okay, Ramos and Matos are the outfielders for the rest of the year.
Right.
Like, Matos, to a degree, is, because that's your center fielder now. But, like you said, dude, Michael Conforto's been pretty good this year.
Yeah.
You're not having that guy come back in a few days and just being like, you don't play for us anymore.
Right.
You're not doing that.
And you're not going to trade him at this point, and, you're paying him $18 million, so you're not just going to outright cut him and give him, $14 million that you have owed to him and let him walk. You do need to have a little bit of a cushion in case one of these 3 young guys, as you were saying, hits a rough patch, or if they get a little bit of an injury. What then if you don't have some veterans behind him?
And even Yaz is a phenomenal right fielder.
Yeah.
He's been better at the plate. It's not like great all told, but it's better than it was.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Hard not to be, but you're right.
It's been a weekend.
Yeah.
And it was a
weekend.
It was a great weekend.
And thank you, Mark. We owe it all to you.